What can AI do with video games? I have had this question for quite a while now, and I want to hear what some people believe. I truly believe that AI video games have essentially unlimited possibilities, and I am curious of what y'all believe. Besides infinite quest generation, the ability to debug and operate on a live server will progressively move away from human oversight. We will literally be able to build fully functioning worlds that are self-sustaining with little human interactions. We'll be able to engage with those worlds, and they'll be just as alive and evolving as the world we live in now. Wait a second. I talk about this subject a lot recently, but here's a couple of things. 1. Infinite quest generation. 2. Ability to communicate with NPCs like real humans, ChatGPT. 3. Ability to create levels, characters, art, basically infinite content DLC. This is just a few things it will be able to do. And since ChatGPT is here, I am hoping within a few years we will have AI NPCs that make their own decisions and constantly evolve. AI has been used to upscale pre-rendered backgrounds from old RPG games like the PSX Final Fantasy games. What couldn't it do? Eventually there will be programs, not games. You'll make the games yourself with minimal prompting. Want an Abe Lincoln hack and slash with no escort missions? Sure, the first one won't be what you want, but the second will be closer. User-generated content isn't going away, but neither is the rise of personal gameplay customization. Think sliders for QTE frequency, stealth sensitivity, amount of lore, number of endings, scale of locations. We will soon be able to play exactly the game we want. I'm completely convinced in about 10-15 years, all entertainment will be generated on the fly by AI. Sit down at your PlayStation 7. Put in a text prompt. Open world 3D game in the style of Dark Souls, Breath of the Wild, but with aliens set in outer space station, influenced by Last of Us, with music in the style of the Ramones. Start playing 10 minutes later. I bet full-length movies happen around the same time frame. I'm looking forward to typing in Half-Life Alyx with Borderlands-style graphics and playing exactly that and other neat combinations of games. I'd like to see text input written by the player instead of fixed choices. Basically using ChatGPT when talking to NPCs. Imagine saying, "Hey Xbox, I want to play as like Skywalker in a full trench war scenario on Coruscant," and it just makes. The problem with AI is that nothing it makes is ever really infinite. It has to be trained on human behavior information, so it's inherently limited. If it's somehow implemented for infinite quest generation, it's just gonna end up giving you variations of the types of quests we've had for decades. AI isn't capable of creativity. I have used both Stable Diffusion and ChatGPT in my game project. My game is mainly UI-based, so it's all flat. But the image AI is really limited, and you need to alter it a lot and run it in iteration to guide it into a good result. I have used ChatGPT to help me brainstorm new ideas and some story guidance. If you want to see how it looks, check my latest post to see the Steam page. Gameplay. Interacting with NPC that feel more human. Fighting character that doesn't move in a stupid specific pattern. A whole universe that is influenced by the player choice like a Butterly effect. Game developer. AI as tester to find bug. Enhanced procedural content generation. AI can produce a near impossibly difficult enemy AI that can dynamically adjust to your playstyle. Generating a game with graphical, music and sound assets from a text prompt. Make a game in a new genre that doesn't exist yet, with an immersive world with engaging NPCs. One idea: ChatGPT like AI could be integrated into games that are already out. The NPC's decisions and dialogue could be generated and imported live. There's no limits. Basically, it's just a matter of what makes the monkey laugh and clap. More than likely, AI will be used to fine-tune gacha mechanics, microtransactions, loot boxes and other forms of not gambling mechanics in the AAA sector, while also formalizing and standardizing witty dialogue to save paid hours. It may also be used to generate royalty-free art assets to reduce production and not the end product's cost. Best case scenario, it will flood the market and cause a 1980s style crash that will revitalize the industry. Okay, so this starts to make clear how we are really in a simulation ourselves. The Big Bang wasn't really what started it all. It was the invention of AI that started spawning a simulation continuously expanding, with what seems like an infinite amount of stars, etc. Just a hunch, but I think it will have to help in development due to gamers wanting product faster, and games becoming more demanding and therefore needing more manpower without it. Maybe it's already being used in some aspects. I have no direct info on that. It just seems like it is or will be necessary soon in the development of them. I could count on 17 fingers the things AI could do for video games. I think infinite quest generation is already a thing with random number generators. Randomly interesting storylines would be something else. But randomness already gives a lot of interest. I think creating characters and having their animations, textures, and hitboxes set up would be a massive time saver. That stuff is a pain in the ass. There's little stuff like voice work where a voice actor could lease out a digital profile of their voice and it would significantly less work. Imagine a game where the AI hunted you, would be pretty amazing. So much potential. I can't wait. Funny you mention this. When I am bored waiting for Dark and Darker, I've been using ChatGPT to generate text adventures. Quite imaginative. Last one had a spell Ethereal Walk. Not only was it smart enough to allow me to enter buildings, but bypass traps on a chest. There will be more programmatically generated content. No Man's Sky is a good example of a game that's almost entirely driven by AI. It's the only real choice for games that big. It'd be impossible for humans to design millions of unique planets with all the creatures, etc. The upcoming Starfield may very well be one of the last games of this scale that uses individually created environments. Even some basic fight, flight, and group organization tactics for mobs would be nice in a lot of PvE. You might want to read or listen to Completionist Chronicles by Dakota Kraut. This series has some pretty good AI mechanics behind it, and it's also a good series on top of all that, or at least I think so. Generative content on the fly sounds insane to me. I saw a study that used games to make difficult choices, for example, ethical questions such as who to kill, a young man, a woman, or a baby, and those playing the game knowingly would make an anonymous choice, which aids AI in answering such moral questions. In a utopia where UBI and resource equity exists powered by AI and bots, people's main jobs would consist of helping answer such questions to guide the AI, hopefully through very entertaining, generative AI games. Firstly, AI will be used to work faster, to create scenes faster, to furnish them like images from many angles, and then later to synthesize entire world spaces. Game engine companies like Unreal and Nvidia will have some draw your scene tools which are like Diffusion IAMGAs except in 3D. The render times will be slow for this decade. Although once the scene is created it can be saved and perhaps takes 1 hour to do previously 1,000 man-hours of work. So indies will be doing AAA games.